Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry Gamers.
Hello, 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 and welcome, boys and girls, to the 249th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We're powered by ATEBIT.net and those sexy, sexy legends over at Audio Technica. I'm your extremely humbled and slightly hungover host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere, Brendan 8-Bit. And joining me today, the potato scallop to my potato cake. You can find her on them socials at Miss Allie Hart. Miss Allie Hart, how the bloody hell are you?
Oh, I'm good. A potato scallop would be amazing right now. I'm not hungover. I'm just drained from adventuring out on in Las Vegas. So the drinks were had, but I just don't think I'm as rough as you right now.
Yeah, I was very envious of your social posts in Sin City the last couple of days. Looked very picturesque. The drinks looked phenomenal. Really, really nice looking cocktail assortment you guys were blazing your way through. But yeah, I realized yesterday the body don't bounce back like it used to.
Nope.
We had a work lunch / couple of beers thing on Thursday that kicked on from, like, it was a late lunch. It was at 2:00 and it kicked on and I didn't get home until 3 a.m. the next day. So it was like 12 hours of solid drinking on a school night. And boy, howdy, was I paying for it yesterday. It was rough yesterday. I was a mess.
It's so true, though. Like, you just, as time goes on, your body just can't handle the beverages as much as it used to. But I kind of had to, realize, though, that my cocktail choices, I think I'm like a 50-year-old woman. Like,
Go on, tell us more.
I ordered a gin straight martini with a slice of lemon. And then after that, I had an amaretto sour. And I think the guy behind the bar was like a bit perplexed. Like, he wasn't like, and I'm like, wow, are my drinks like really old drinks? Like, am I ordering some oldies? Am I living the old life?
I think it's maybe not old, might be too harsh a term. Maybe it's like they're more dignified. They're a fancier classic cocktail, It's not like these new ones where it's volcanic fire jumping off the top of it and sparkles and all that. They're very simple, but they're classic and very famous cocktails.
And that's why I had to order them, because like these bars and cocktail places that you go to, they have their own little menu of creativity. And I would read the ingredients. And the second I got to one that I didn't even know what it was, I'd have to skip it. And by the time, I read, the first, 2 ingredients, I'm like, I have no idea what this fucking is next.
But it sounds fancy.
It sounds super fancy, but I'm not going to risk it. And these are, $20 drinks, It's a big gamble.
Yeah, you got to choose wisely. Nothing worse than dropping good cash on a cocktail and it tasting like ass.
Yeah, so
you got to persist with it.
Yeah, and I'd watch throughout the night and be like, let's see what cocktail that person ordered, and then it would be green mush. And I'm like, that must be the one that had pine in it or whatever. And I'm like, nah, stick to some OGs.
Yeah, when in doubt, I'll go to a whiskey sour. That's sort of my go-to as far as a safe, steady choice that I know I'm going to enjoy. Because you get caught up in the mermaid fin and the aromatics of the African bloody jungles and whatever
maple
else. You get
smoke. Maple smoke.
Yeah, it gets out there. But going full circle, I'm happy that you're a potato scallop gal, because I had this discussion at this blow off on Thursday, because apparently Melburnians or Victorians, they call them potato cakes. And obviously, because we're both from New South Wales originally, we're potato scallop kids, aren't we?
That's correct. It's a potato scallop. Why would it be a cake? Unless theirs is fatter.
Maybe. I guess they do.
Like a piece of cake?
Yeah, but there was a fierce debate.
Pancake. Oh, you know what? I can see that. I can get that. Because a fish cake is also roughly the same size.
That's true. That's true. And we call them fish cakes. Yeah, we don't call them fish scallops because that would make no sense.
Yeah.
You're dropping truths here. I didn't even think of the fish cakes when we were having this debate on Thursday. I was getting very wound up about scallops and cakes.
It's a very, very delicate thing. Between that and the battered salve.
Oh my God. Give me all the battered salves or Dagwood
You would
dogs.
need one right now. It would be perfect.
Yeah, I've got mini ones in the freezer actually, and the air fryer cooks them like a champion. So maybe I'll have some battered salves today.
Sounds
Just
good.
living my best bachelor hungover boy life. So that's what I'll be doing today. Watching
like a
anime
plan.
and eating battered salves.
Sounds like a good plan to
Go
me.
me. 34 going on 14. But anyway, let's talk about some of the things that we've been doing this past week, and I guess we could jump into a game we've both been carving our way through. Little ditty known as Trigger Witch, which is done by the legends in New Zealand, and I guess you could say Australia, because Australia's John O'Peck helped write this puppy. So Rainbite, Trigger Witch, we've been playing on the Xbox Series X so far. How you been finding it? Like full disclosure, I'm not a big twin stick shooter type of guy, so this was a bit of a new or a bit of a revisiting of the past for me, but I've been really, really vibing with this game.
It's something completely new to me. I definitely don't play this style of game, and it really took me quite some time to get used to, essentially maneuvering and having to like aim in a certain way. Like obviously first person shooter, I use mouse and keyboard most of the time, so going back to the controller, and then I should be familiar with how to use both like joysticks, but I'm not doing well, and also shame on me for choosing hard.
Oh, you went hard.
I thought this is a new experience for me, so instead of just going normal and thinking like, oh yeah, this is a piece of cake, I went hard, so I really throw myself in the deep end, learn how to swim.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head saying, you silly person. I went normal, and that's a good enough challenge. There's times in this game where you've got so many little various beasties coming at you that it gets very overwhelming. So I can only imagine how that would be on hard mode, because holy crap.
It must be intense. I'm thinking it's a pretty good learning lesson for me right now. I think. I gotta say that I probably spent way too much time in the how much. I don't know how much I can give away right now, because we are playing this a little earlier than everyone else.
Yeah, so I like Jared and his team have been kind enough not to make us sign any NDAs. I guess it's more of a trust thing. But like I guess we can, like, I'm assuming you're alluding to the trial at the start, because that's part of the demo that you play that's available on the Xbox store. So it's not too spoiler. If you played the demo, that's what I assume you're alluding to as the trial to become a member of the clip. Yeah,
and I'm just like I'm just trying to like beat times, because I'm addicted to that for some reason.
Oh yeah, competitive you are. But yeah, it's really good. Like we'll dive deeper on this in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
The game drops on majority of platforms on the 28th of July, so you don't have to wait too long to get yourself a copy, just over 2 weeks now. But we'll do a bit more of a non-spoilery deep dive on the game over the coming weeks, talking about the characters and some of the world and whatnot. But in short, like it's a little indie darling that I've been pleasantly surprised with from an aesthetics point of view. The graphics are great. The soundtrack's really cool. It jumps between a lot of sort of 80s sort of chiptune-y synth and gets a little bit of like 80s metal in there and rock, and it's a good time. It's got a good tone.
Yeah.
But it's funny because you can see Jono through it,
In the writing?
through his writing.
Yeah.
Like just some of the things the character says, I'm like, oh, Jono, I've heard you say that to me in real life before, and it just makes me giggle. But it's cute to see. It's great.
It is very sweet, and it's nice having that little bit of a 8-bit attachment to it as well. So I'm honestly pretty impressed, because like we said, it's not a game that we've usually played, and I honestly thought I was going to be a little bit intimidated by it and maybe make a little bit turned off on trying to really complete it. But it's really gotten me, and I'm no pun intended, but I'm pretty gun-ho in getting at this game, so.
Oh yeah. And once you unlock a few certain guns and you get a bit more confident with how you want to play, you get, like, at least I've found myself, like I'm at the end of the game now, and I feel like I'm on the front foot all the time. Like at that moment early in the game, you're sort of jumping in, getting involved in some combat, then dashing out, trying to catch your breath for a second, jumping back in. Where now I'm just like pushing the pace, and it feels so good as Colette. And it's just good fun, and it's fun because it's so different to what I guess we're both respectively used to playing. Like it's been a big step away from the usual stuff we've been churning out the last couple of months, and can't wait for the greater world to get a copy of this in their hands and run around and see what Trigger Witch is all about.
Yeah, exciting times.
Another game that I cracked into last weekend, I set sail with Benny and Narcy in the new Sea of Thieves, a Pirate Life expansion, and boy howdy, it is pretty freaking great.
Oh no.
It's so good, Miss Hart. And who would have thought that the weirdo known as Johnny Depp, obviously they don't lend his voice to this character. It's done by some other sort of, I guess, Johnny Depp impersonator. But the likeness of Captain Jack Sparrow is there, and some of his crewmates and things like that. But it is really cool. It is like I haven't played Sea of Thieves in God knows how long, maybe 12 months, maybe more. And jumping back in, it feels great. It looks absolutely stunning on the Xbox Series S, popping out that 4K. And I know you're very anti-water, but like the water is stunning, and sailing around this ocean with your crewmates and just going on these little quests. And then just the back and forth and just the interactions you have with Captain Jack Sparrow as you're going. Like, we haven't finished the Pirate Life expansion at the moment. We're maybe like a quarter or a third of the way through. Okay. But it's really freaking cool so far. And some of the changes they've done in the main gameplay loop to make this thing feel fresh is awesome. And there's pets. Like, pets have been in there for a while, but this was my first experience with being able to have a pet. So you can have a dog, a cat, a monkey, or a bird.
That's even worse. Like, does it go on the ship with you?
Yeah, like it follows you everywhere.
What
so
happens
you can pick it up
when the ship sinks?
Well, they can swim, so they'll just sort of bob
what
up to the top.
What happens when the shark comes?
They don't get attacked. Like, your pets don't get attacked at all, so they can't be hurt. So I know you're big on that.
With two things that I hate in video games.
So the pets are. It's a purely cosmetic thing. Okay. But, like, it's pretty great because you can pick them up and, like I've got a monkey named Roberto that I take around with me at the moment. And he can sit on your arm, or he can just follow you around. Mm-hmm. And so we had, like, my monkey Roberto, we had Benny's cat Loki, and and Steve, I think, was Narcy's dog. And they were all just cruising around with us, and you can sit them on they'll follow you on the ship, or they'll go to sleep in the ship and follow you around the islands. It's really, really great, and it's just a cute little layer. And then you can kit them out in little outfits and stuff like that. Like, you get into it. But yeah, Sea of Thieves, it's so good, and I can't wait to try and finish this expansion over the weekend.
Is it on Game Pass?
Yep. Join us.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. See how you're feeling, because I think you'll enjoy it. Like, it is such a fun game to play, especially with people. Like, I don't ever think I want to solo sail, but... No,
solo sailing is horrible. That was the last time I played.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good time to me, but getting on a ship with a crew and just having a laugh and doing your adventures and playing a couple of tunes, and then your little pets are there and whatever. It's really well done, and Rare they continue to knock it out of the park with this game, and yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised by how good this expansion is so far.
Okay, maybe I'll have to just come along and just bring my floaties.
Yeah, or you can, like, when we're out in sea, you can just sort of go into the crew quarters and just chill out in there, and we'll steer the ship until we land somewhere. Then you can come out
but
and
then
jump
you guys
onto
get
land.
attacked and I'm just stuck at the bottom. The ship sinks. Don't bother with the coffin.
It's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good. Miss Hart, I see you've been watching something that I'm intrigued as hell to know more about. Tell me about this thing you've been watching this week.
So, after Vegas shenanigans, we go back to our hotel room and we're like, let's see what's on normal TV, because we don't really watch normal TV. We usually stream everything. And we stumble upon a show called The Celebrity Dating Game. And the episode we're watching, it's got Carson Kressley in it.
Really?
Yeah, from
MTV? No, Carson Kressley from Queer Eye.
Yeah.
I was thinking of other Carson.
Carson
what's his name?
Daly.
Carson Daly.
I
That's
only know his name because of that Eminem song. But anyway, so it's like the token like dating game that you would see all the time, like where there's the suitor, I guess, or the person that's choosing a partner. So they're on one side of the wall, and then there's 3 potential partners on the other side, and then they don't see each other. They ask a few random questions, and then they decide. Except for with this, there's always this question in like, do you know who I am? Like, and they all have a guess. They get 2 chances to guess who the celebrity is. But I mean, so here's the weirdness. On top of that is it's hosted by Zoe Deschanel.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, all right. I thought that was really weird. But she's annoying. And then to add to the craziness, on the side, her little like co-host, and they have like a little segment where they sing a song about the guest. We have Michael Bolton.
What? Michael Bolton?
Yes. And he looks like he's holding on to life. And he also looks like he's not sure where he is.
He's they've just wheeled him out and said, face this camera and sing these lines.
Yeah.
Mr. Bolton.
There's been jokes and they'll pan to him and he'll be like looking glazed off to the side and then just kind of like do this like weird smile kind of thing. It's like he looks like he's held hostage. It actually looks like he's held hostage.
Wow. See, I was going to ask if when you mentioned Zoe, I'm like, I wonder if there's going to be a musical number. And lo and behold, it sounds like it's every episode.
She doesn't sing, luckily enough. She does a stupid dance at the end. But full disclosure, I've never been a big fan of Zoe Deschanel. There's just something about her that irks me. Her sister's fine, though. I like Bones.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. See, it's tough because I had my first Zoe experience with 500 Days of Summer, where she breaks poor old Joseph Gordon-Levitt's heart. Mm-hmm. And then, like, I'm a big fan of New Girl, but yet at the same time, Zoe is probably my least favorite character in the show that's about her. So go figure.
Yeah. But yeah, the episode I watched, it was Carson, and then it was also Iggy Azalea. I thought she was married, but apparently I'm wrong.
Nah, her and she was with Nick Young, the NBA player. Okay. There was a big cheating scandal, and they've since gone their separate ways. Yes, I'm up to date on the Iggy Azalea goss.
Oh well, there we go. That actually explains everything for me. Awkwardly enough, she let everyone know that she was Australian. Like, kind of. She threw that to them, and then when she asked, "Can you tell who I am?" they all guessed British people.
It's funny because I know, like, and you'd know too. You know how that feels being in America, and they I don't know why they go to like, are you from London? Are you English?
It's usually New Zealand or England, but for the most part, people don't even ask if I have an accent. So I'm pretty lucky. But this show, it's a mess. It's horrible, and I need to watch more of it. So if you guys in Australia have the opportunity to somehow watch this horrible the celebrity dating game, do it. Just watch this mess because it's chaotic. And it's pretty interesting that, like, I want to know if they actually go out on these dates, but when they finally select their partner, it's still awkward. It's awkward as hell. You're like, you're not going on a date. This isn't real. But yeah.
I want to know. I want to find out how I can watch this because I need to see this cringe. I need to see just how bad it is.
It's really bad, but it's bad,
a celebrity dating game.
Yep.
I just want to see it from Michael Bolton alone and see, like, he's at the age and probably the health level of, like, Rod Stewart, and he's another one of those sort of fossils that they just wheel out and say, all right, play your songs, Rod, and then they wheel him back out and put him into cryo again or whatever.
Michael Bolton's 68 years old, so I like the last thing we kind of really saw him do was like the Lonely Island stuff, right?
Yeah.
Jack Sparrow. Yeah. Look at that full circle.
There we go. Connecting them breadcrumbs right there. Wow. Michael Bolton, 68 and back on TV being some musical relief.
Yeah, being held hostage. You decide.
Yeah. Well, while you're deciding about if Michael Bolton's been held hostage, I also binged the Resident Evil Infinite Darkness animated series dropped on Netflix yesterday.
I've got that on watch, yep.
Yep. I watched it all. It felt like it went very quickly. Like, is that a good or a bad thing? I don't know. It was fine. It sucked because I'm a Resident Evil boy.
Oh no.
Love me Resident Evil, and like the animation quality, you can't deny it. It's really, really well done. Like they've put a lot of money into the artistic style and the character models and the voice acting. Like it's all great, but just in typical, I guess, Resident Evil fashion, the story is a little bit messy, and the tone occasionally, you know, it fits with Resident Evil as a whole, where they'll drop one of these like random zingers in the midst of like a big battle, and it's like, aha, I see what you did there, Leon. But then at the same time, like when you're watching it, it doesn't really sort of resonate with what's playing out on the screen. So it's true to Resident Evil lore and form, but you can see that they've set this up for future seasons. Like they smashed out, I think there's 8 episodes thereabouts. I could be off on that, but like it felt like I finished this thing within a couple of hours. Like they're 20 to 30 minute episodes. Some good combat in there, good sort of connecting of threads from the Resident Evil universe as a whole, and referencing characters and moments and things. So there's some good Easter eggs for fans of Resident Evil, but people that haven't played the games will still be able to watch this and understand what's going on. Like the plot isn't too deep, and they don't go into too many in-house jokes and factoids, you know? Yeah. So it's fun. It's fine. I just wanted more, or I was hoping for a little bit more, which sucks. But I still enjoyed it. I'd recommend watching it if you got some time and you want some good animated fun in your life. Yeah,
I think we'll still watch it regardless, especially if it's, like you said, like only a couple of episodes, like 8 episodes and 30 minutes long. Like that we'll breeze through that. So it's a shame, like these opportunities to create series or animated series or whatever based on popular gaming franchises. You know, we've had success with The Witcher, and you'd want everything to kind of be able to achieve the same level of success, so then we could get more. So that's a shame, but I'll still watch it.
Yeah, it's still good, and I think they're gonna churn out future seasons of this. So I like that this was a fresh story, and like it's not just a retread of one of the game storylines. It doesn't go through those types of beats. It's a new story. It's fresh to the Resident Evil universe. So it's sort of a bit of a new journey. And Claire and Leon, the OG protagonists from Resident Evil 2 in the game there. So it's cool. I enjoyed it, but just wanted a little bit more. Just want a little bit more, Miss Hart.
It's fine. It's okay to want a little bit more.
That's it. And listeners, if you want a little bit more, you can obviously head over to kofi.com/weare8bit and subscribe to us at many tiered-based subscription offerings, should you choose, starting from the low price of $1 Australian per month. You can get exclusive access to podcasts, early access to podcast episodes, automatic entries into competitions and giveaways, as well as swag sent directly to your mailing address periodically every few months, and that ranges from stickers and pins to merch, so on and so forth. So if you want a little bit of extra 8-bit in your life, ko-fi.com/weare8bit to subscribe to us there. If you don't want to subscribe to us monetarily, that is more than fine. You do you. But if you can still give us a little bit of love, be sure to rate, review, subscribe us and all the other podcasts you listen to on the regular, on Apple Podcasts preferably, just because it helps keep these emotional lights on in our hearts, keeps us tracking, keeps us trending, keeps us relevant, and it takes no time, costs no money, but means an awful lot. But going full circle to, if you did want to throw some money our way, shop8bit.net is the best video game and pop culture related merch store in the internet. So shop8bit.net, and you can get yourself some exclusive 8-bit tees, hoodies, hats, beanies, jumpers, tracksuit pants, you name it, it is there. We've got a new funky, I don't know how you describe it, Miss Hart. Not quite tie-dye. You said geometric, the bear? The bear's geometry. That's the one that I'm really excited for, when you finally showed us as a group, and I'm like, that looks badass. But the other one you're talking about, the tie-dye. Yeah, the tie-dye, and I think do you call it fairy floss? I said it's like fairy floss. It's very, very, something a little bit different. So it's like a crew neck or a pullover in like a fairy floss color pattern. Then it's a simple 8-bit logo on the chest. Very lo-fi. So that'll be dropping on the store by the time this episode is out, as well as the geometric bear, which is very unlike the merch designs we've done in the past. It's a little different, but it's super funky. And shout out to Exu our fantastic artist, for popping that one together. Very talented individual. Check him out on them socials. Show him some love because he is doing phenomenal work. And other people that do phenomenal work, obviously Audio Technica. If you want to get yourself the best in audio-based equipment, we're talking headphones, microphones, gaming headsets, turntables. You want in-ear, you want over-ear, you want Bluetooth, you want noise cancelling. It is all there over at audiotechnica.com or audiotechnica.com.au. Upgrade your audio solution today. And Miss Hart, let's get into some news. What do you reckon?
Let's do it.
This week's news headlines.
All right. Couple of quick little rapid fires to start things off. And connecting the dots to the previous Resident Evil discussion, Capcom has now sold 4.5 million copies of Resident Evil Village. That's a steady uptick from the last couple of sales milestones announced by the publisher. 3 million at launch in May, then up to 4 million after 20 days. Village's predecessor, Resident Evil 7, has shifted 9 million copies total since its launch in 2017, though only sold 3.5 million after 9 weeks. So Village is selling faster and looks also to be on track to potentially overtake 7 as the biggest selling entry in the series. And furthermore to that, this now gets the Resident Evil franchise over 100 million total copies sold across the entire Resident Evil world. Since those releases in the 90s. So Capcom just on a bit of a gold mine there with Resident Evil, Miss Hart.
Yeah, and I'm actually really glad to see that Village is succeeding, because I know it was actually it received a little bit of hesitant, the fan base was pretty happy with the whole zombie kind of theme that goes along with it. And then when we had it was 7
when we went first person.
Yeah.
In the bayou.
Yeah, a lot of people were a bit iffy about how that one went and how the angle from zombies kind of moved away. And then when we got with Village, people were like, well, what is this now? We're fighting vampires and werewolves? This isn't Resident Evil. So it seems like regardless, the fan base, or for the majority of new and old, have really enjoyed where the Resident Evil franchise has gone. It looks gorgeous. It's a gorgeous looking game.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. And I don't I got no issues with that shift in tone. The zombie fatigue is very real. We've thrown that term around for a while, whether it be in games or TV and film. There's so much zombies on the screen, and it's an eternal enemy that's going to be shown on these screens forever. So it's nice to see them go into the supernatural and go into these sort of other creatures and beasties. So it's good to see that that's translating into sales, because I'm happy if they stick with Resident Evil in this first-person view forever moving forward. I don't care if they never go back to the old over-the-shoulder third-person style, because it's great. It gets you close to the action, makes it a little bit scarier, in my opinion, and people are buying this game up. So it's on track to be the highest-selling Resident Evil game in history. A game, or I guess a person that has dabbled in some games but hasn't been in anything as far as their own game since nearly 20 years ago. We're talking about none other than iconic 80s action movie anti-hero RoboCop. He had a new game announced this week, Miss Hart, called RoboCop Rogue City. I don't know if you saw the trailer for this.
I didn't.
The trailer didn't show anything. It was a slow build up to just a graphic with RoboCop Rogue City.
Oh, okay, I did see that then.
Yeah, it was I'm waiting to see. Oh, they did one cut. There was one scene where you saw the old hip gun come out of the robotic leg, as is tradition from the movies, but you don't see any gameplay. You don't see any actual shots of RoboCop himself. They haven't confirmed if Peter Weller's going to be doing the voice and the likeness. But yeah, we're getting a RoboCop game. The last one was on PC and consoles 18 years ago. Obviously, you saw RoboCop in Mortal Kombat as a guest character, but this is his first solo experience in nearly 2 decades. And I love RoboCop, but I don't know how to feel about this. I feel this game could be pretty rough. It's made by the same studio that did the most recent Terminator Resistance game, which was kind of pretty rough. So we'll see. But I guess they're 80s sci-fi action stalwarts.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of 80s action heroes kind of coming to games as DLC or as buyable options, whether it's in COD. We also had like Predator. We're getting Alien games. We're definitely seeing them, and like you said, included in Mortal Kombat as characters as well. But are people actually looking for games exclusively based on these 80s heroes?
Like, from my heart of hearts, like I love this period of cinema, and like I'm a big 80s sci-fi action nerd. Like I love these characters in these films, but I'm not hankering for a RoboCop game because I don't know how it's going to translate. I don't know if it's going to be any good. I think that's the biggest thing, is a lot of these games, not going to dismiss the studios and their talent, but like, because they usually get handled by a AA studio, maybe the budget isn't there, or they don't have the staffing numbers to probably give it the polish that the big AAAs could do if they got hold of some of these IPs. So I just worry that the experience is going to be a little less than what I'd want it to be. And that's where it sort of falls down for me a little bit.
Yeah, I like, full disclosure, I never really watched the RoboCop movies. That was one that just never made it into my viewing. If I'm talking about, well, technically not 80s, but I always thought that Dread movie could be made into a pretty cool game where you go up the levels of a building. But
I love that Dread movie. Love that Dread movie.
Yeah, that was surprisingly good. Very underrated. I don't feel like everyone watched that one.
Yeah, I'll stand by that film very strongly. I thought it was really well done, and Carl Urban as Judge Dredd was fantastic.
It was really, really good.
I'm still hoping we get a TV series. They've talked about it on and off, and Carl Urban said he's open to it.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We'll see. He's too busy being Billy the Butcher in The Boys these days. All right, we're going to jump into some bit more deeper dive here, and the first article that I'm pulling, I've just called this OLED. OLED. And this is in relation to the recently revealed new Nintendo Switch coming our way. So Nintendo has at last unveiled its upgraded Switch model, which is due to launch on October 8th alongside Metroid Dread. Connecting the dots there. Dread all over. Beautiful. It has a 7-inch OLED screen, 64 gigs of internal storage, a wide adjustable stand, plus improved speakers. There's a new dock too, with a wide LAN port. Huzzah! White and neon red/blue controllers will be available. Officially, it's called the Nintendo Switch OLED model console. It costs $539 Australian or $350 USD. The screen remains at 1280 by 720p resolution, though it is now 7 inches, up from this base Switch's model's 6.2 inches. Battery life remains listed as, in quotes, 4.5 to 9 hours, depending on usage, which is the same as the base model Switch. In terms of size, the new model measures 102mm by 242mm by 13.9 with Joy-Con attached, compared to the ever so slightly thinner 102 by 239 by 13.9 original version. Finally, the OLED model weighs in at 320 grams or 420 with Joy-Cons attached. That compares to 297 or 398 with Joy-Cons attached for the original Switch model. In March this year, the new model was reported by Bloomberg to feature a 7-inch 780p OLED screen and output at up to 4K when connected to a TV. Clearly, that 4K bump has not materialized. Speaking to Nintendo this week, The Verge confirmed the OLED model does not have a new CPU or more RAM. So, this thing, I was very underwhelmed. Very, a screen, 0.8 inches of a bigger screen. Yeah, okay. OLED's nice because you're going to get, obviously, your brights are going to be brighter, your dark's going to be darker. OLED does the best high contrast and HDR or WDR comparisons with your blacks and your whites. But outside of that, and the fact they've gone away from a flimsy kickstand to now this big chonky stand that will support the Switch and not feel like it's going to snap. Cool. Okay. Righto. What do you think about this, Miss Hardy? Are you in? Do you want one of these Nintendo Switch OLED models?
To be honest, I didn't give a shit. It was more fun reading Twitter after the announcement and just seeing people being like, we were never promised anything. I, for one, will be buying this. Blah, blah, blah. And then other people were like, that's it? That's all you guys gave us? A new bigger screen or whatever? And it was just enjoyable watching very, very like different reactions. I also enjoyed the people that saying this is a ripoff. I can't believe I was excited about it. I'm still going to buy it. I appreciate that honesty.
Yeah, that's kind of me.
Yeah, I think I actually witnessed you saying that on Twitter somewhere in someone's replies. Also, OLED or OLED?
Mm-hmm. I say OLED. That's just because like when LG first, I guess, brought this tech to the market with their tellies, that was always on the marketing spiel as OLED. From some of the adverts, like OLED is probably the correct term.
Okay.
But it's fine. Like the biggest surprise to me is that there's no jump in the resolution. Like, sure, the pixels are gonna be brighter and darker and have more pop when you're playing, but the fact it's still 720p. Like, we've got consoles now running 4K 60 FPS, and this thing's like, oh yeah, we'll give you 720p, baby, and we can scale that to 1080p if you plug it in on the dock.
Yeah.
Which now has a a hardwired network port. Like, oh my god, like it's so bizarre, but it's very Nintendo. That's the thing. Like, when this came out, I'm like, it's what they do. You know, they're several years to the market, or they're just like, we're gonna make our own market. You know, we're gonna blaze our own path, and it's what they keep doing. I like the look of the Switch. I like the black and the white. I liked the Joy-Cons. I thought the colors and the stand itself, it looked really nice as well. Yeah. I thought, the dock, I should say, if we want the technical term, but $540 for this thing. Like, Jesus heckin' Christ.
Yeah, but just like very small changes in already existing handheld console. Like I said, I wasn't really disappointed because I think we had this conversation when there was the speculation of the newer Switch being released, and I think that's when people mentioned the 4K. I think even then I said, you know what, I'm happy with my Switch, so I had no intention of buying this anyway, so I wasn't disappointed. I saw someone mention like, oh, this is the change they make, but they still can't fix drift in their Joy-Cons. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest issues that they have, especially when it comes to also claiming that your Joy-Con has an issue and them saying, no, it doesn't.
Yep, thanks Nintendo. Cost me $50 to get that fixed, but not fixed. But anyway.
Yeah. So no one's forcing people to buy this item. It's there. It's slight improvements. There's people that are really excited and are noting the benefits for them personally with these changes. So that's good. This was made for them. We will see great sales of this console, I assume, because they wouldn't do it, I guess, without anticipating that people will buy it regardless of bad press, I guess. But yeah. If you don't like it or you're not happy about this release, and guess what? Don't buy it.
Yeah, it's that simple. But I guess the interesting things that are going to come out of this as well is, are they going to phase out the old standard Switch SKU over time, and it's just going to be the Switch Lite and then this, Switch OLED or OLED variant? Are they still working on a Switch Pro as rumored with that 4K? And I guess due to global component shortages, they couldn't get the necessary chips to maybe have that one out in time. So they went this direction as well because, manufacturing at the moment for any type of electronic technology is very tough. The lead times are multi-month type of situation. Yeah. So maybe that's what forced them to pivot and went, we need something this year. We've got to keep our investors happy. Let's just go the Malibu Stacy route here and go...
it's got a new hat.
It's got a new dock. It's just, I love Nintendo. I love their product. I love utilizing their equipment. But it doesn't feel like it's a day one purchase. Like, unless you're getting a mad trade-in on your original Switch and you can get this for pretty cheap, I'm not going to probably be rushing out and getting it day one. Like, I've still got some EB Games gift cards sitting there. So if I could combine that with a trade-in and get this thing for no extra cost almost, I'll do that. But otherwise... I don't play my Switch as it is. I've played it once in the last 12 months, and I love my Switch, but I just find all my gaming's getting done elsewhere.
Yeah, if it comes to portable gaming, I'm now reverting to my phone. With Apple Arcade, I'm actually getting some really, really good games available to me right on hand. So
Yeah, but you can bet the house on that when this drops on the 8th of October, there's going to be a Metroid Dread version with like the dock skinned in some Metroid colors and maybe the Switch Joy-Cons in a bit of a Metroid color palette as well. So we'll see what they bring out at the start of October there. But the Nintendo Switch OLED or OLED model coming to you on 8th of October, 539 Australian, 350 USD. That's a lot of cabbage for 0.8 inches of an extra screen and some improved audio. But like, and the audio, that's secondary to me. Like,
audio matters.
Yeah, to a degree. But like, I didn't feel the speakers were that bad on the Switch to begin with.
I noticed differences between handheld play and then having it come through TV speakers.
Yeah, that's true.
But
we'll see. Better kickstand though. I was always, in disbelief that my stand hadn't snapped on my Switch because it's such a fiddly little thing.
It is a little fiddly.
I've got that big chonky stand. But anyway, October 8th, if you want to get in on that OLED hotness. Next little bit of news, I've called this one Assassin's Creed.
Nice. Because
the franchise is moving towards a live service. So there's been some news doing the rounds. Obviously, we saw Jason Schreier dropping some hotness on Bloomberg on this regarding this pivot. But on the back of that now, Ubisoft have come out and had to address this. So I've taken bits and pieces from Eurogamer here and then chucked some other wording in myself. So Ubisoft has now formally acknowledged Assassin's Creed Infinity and detailed more of how it will run and who will work on it. The lengthy blog post contains mention of two teams led by two creative directors, Clint Hocking, formerly of Splinter Cell and Watch Dogs Legion. He'll lead a team at Ubisoft Montreal, and Jonathan Dumont, a veteran of Assassin's Creed Syndicate and Odyssey, will lead a team at Ubisoft Quebec. The Infinity project that will include the games made by both these teams will be led by Marc Alexis Cotier, who will now serve as executive producer of the entire Assassin's Creed franchise. Cotier worked on Brotherhood before becoming creative director on Syndicate and is one of the most senior staff at Ubisoft Quebec. Cotier will be also aided by the franchise's long-serving brand director Etienne Alanier from Montreal and Valhalla producer Julien Lafreniere from Quebec. So what will Assassin's Creed Infinity look like? Details of the live service are thin on the ground, but the series' last few installments may offer some clues. Origins added weekly challenges to the franchise, while the well-received Odyssey expanded its adventure with monthly releases of new story episodes. Recently, Ubisoft confirmed Valhalla will become the first game in the franchise to offer a second year of post-launch expansions after becoming the first game in the series to offer a broad variety of different countries. Infinity is described as a platform that ties games set in different time periods together. It feels like it could act as a central hub that changes over time and adds new time periods to explore as games are expanded and new titles are released. So, Miss Hart, there has been some internet discourse on the back of this where they've said Ubisoft is going to pivot with this franchise, Assassin's Creed, to a live service, to a games as service model where there's going to be one singular major purchase, and then with future expansions and add-ons that you can buy along the way. So thinking at it looking at this, I am not against this idea. I actually think it's probably smart. Like, if they could release more focused, more concentrated content that, like, you know, Valhalla, phenomenal game, but you're looking at 100 to 200 hours worth of game time, depending on what you're into. And that can be a lot to chew for some people. So if they made these smaller entries, maybe 50 hours a pop, drop one of these every 6 to 12 months to keep people interested and expand the lore and build out the story and you know, just play more into these various locales from certain time periods. I think that could be really fun. It'll keep people coming back to the franchise. It'll keep them embedded with this IP and keep them loving the Assassin's Creed life and just have that on as their regular go-to for potentially years on years, as opposed to just once every couple of years when a new game drops.
I actually agree with you. Like, for the most part, for me, I'm not in for a long haul kind of game, and hearing about everyone's experiences of the multiple hours played in, like, the most recent Assassin's Creed games that they've released, I don't have that time. I also don't have that attention span to, you know, continue playing a game like that. So if we have a base game and then they release these like different time periods or isolated historical events that you can then decide if you're going to buy that, I guess, DLC. Obviously, if base game is one purchase and then you would have to purchase additional content, it would be an affordability thing. If that additional content could not be full price, I would assume. Like you couldn't do that. You couldn't ask for the same price as like base game or how much they've been asking for games in general. I like that this gives them the opportunity of maybe re-releasing some of the older games. Let's just say Assassin's Creed 2, the best game. And I would enjoy that. I would buy that instantly and replay that on the new consoles and see that experience again, but with a higher graphic fidelity than what we had. But I don't see too much of a problem. It's gonna obviously come to more fruition when they actually do start releasing price points and showing exactly how they're planning it out. Because like I don't have the attention span for long games, but I don't think I'd be dropping money with every DLC release that they had. So pick and choose.
I get you, and that's a very, very interesting point you brought up there regarding it allows them to potentially go back and remaster original games from the franchise and bring them into this living infinity world where you could jump back and play as Ezio and things like that in that period, and then jump into other characters. And I'd say the model, you know, obviously we're not on the board, we don't know what's happening, but if we're just going to sort of hypothesize and speculate a little bit, I might follow like what Destiny are doing these days, or Bungie doing with Destiny 2, where you can buy the base game, but then they've got these major DLC releases that bring in new expansions and new content. So you purchase the base game once at price X, and then for future it might be, let's say, $30 or $40, $50. I don't know, whatever the price point's going to be, but it's going to be at a lower price of entry to get this expansion where you're going to China or to somewhere in Europe or Africa or wherever, wherever they're taking this game next. So I like the idea. I like that it just shows that they're dedicated to this world and this IP, instead of just making this game and dropping it and then bringing another one out every few years. Like, it's confirmed that Valhalla's the first game in the Assassin's Creed history where they've got content planned 2 years post-launch. So they're starting to, I guess, test the waters with Valhalla, and then on the back of this, maybe late next year, late 2022, or maybe even into 2023, we might see this Infinity platform and what it's going to do drop, because we've still got at least 12 months or so worth of Valhalla content coming, and then maybe they might just bookend that into Infinity next year.
Yeah,
but I think it sounds fine. It's smart, and just as long as the content doesn't get watered down and the expansions or these add-ons are nothing more than little mini games and boring fetch quests like that, it needs to have the same amount of love and care that we've got from all this content that's dropped for Valhalla.
Yeah, and speaking of Destiny, I would hope that if you're going down the route, it doesn't necessarily block you from anything by saying, oh, because you don't own this, then you don't get to experience this for some reason. Like, it's hard to kind of explain it, especially with what we're speculating with how we think this is going to be. But I don't really like locking people out of things because maybe they can't afford it or whatever. So
true.
I would appreciate if these additions that you could pick up further down the line are just more like little tight-knit boxes of their own content, and you don't miss out on anything else additional. So,
But I'm intrigued. I'm very interested in this, and I think it's a smart idea. Like, there was a lot of negative spin on social media about this. People were like, oh, this is going to ruin the franchise and this is just a cash grab and whatever. And I'm like, if anything, it could save the gamer more money long-term and keep them in this ecosystem long-term as well. I think it's smart play. Like, as long as the content justifies the price point and doesn't water down this great narrative that they're building out of this franchise, I think it's nothing but positive moving forward there with what Ubisoft are trying to do, and I'm keen.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah, I think it's also probably a good it is probably a good money move for them, because they throw a lot of time and hard work into these games, which they do release pretty regularly, mind you. I like maybe they're just finding that the payoff to doing these long, extensive games, it's not adding up for them, which sucks. But you got to make the right choice.
Mm-hmm. That's it. It's business at the end of the day. Ubisoft need to be profitable, and if splitting the workload across a couple of studios and doing more focused releases, and they can sort of just piggyback off one another and then jump into the next piece, cool. I'm down. Take my money, Ubisoft. I'll be buying it day one. Love me some Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
All right, and the last bit of news we're bringing to the table today, Miss Hart, I thought we'd sort of recap Sony's latest state of play. So we had a state of play that took place yesterday. So we're talking Friday morning for Australians and Thursday evening for the majority of the rest of the world. And featured a smattering of updates on already announced games, plus some new reveals. We got 11 games in total highlighted in this 30-ish minute slice. Some of them were nothing more than a trailer here or there. I don't think, I've grabbed some words from IGN, and it is a bit of a deeper dive, but maybe instead of going through all these games one after the other, maybe we can just sort of bring to the table some of the things we thought stood out, or I could rattle off the game title, and if we got something to add to it, cool. If not, we can just move forward.
Yeah, you caught me off guard then when you said that they had 11 games, and I'm like, did they?
Yeah. It felt a little that way, and no disrespect to the games and the studios involved in this little event. So it started with Moss Book 2, so the sequel, which is going to debut on the PlayStation VR, is the second entry into the Moss franchise, where you play as this adorable little mouse running around. It's really pretty, and in VR, I've played it a little bit, and I enjoyed my time with it. So we get a follow on from the original Moss. I thought it looked nice, looked fine.
It looks
Gives
cute.
an excuse to get the VR back out if you're into that kind of thing.
I'm pretty certain the original game of Moss was just a normal adventure game, so it seems pretty interesting to make the second installment. Was it exclusively VR?
It's going to debut in VR, and I can't remember with the first. I played Moss in VR, the first one, but I can't remember if it released in VR first or that sort of followed after non-VR release. But
okay.
It's nice to see they're giving their VR platform a little bit of love.
Yeah, and Moss is cute. It's adorable.
Really cute, really cute. The next one, I'm not too sure how to feel about this. It's called ATEBIT, and early access, it actually started yesterday. Full launch of the game is going to be in 2022, so you can jump on PlayStation and play this right now. It's a multiplayer shooter that can be played solo or in 4-player co-op. It has a bit of Fortnite-y vibe to it with some action, but this did not move the needle for me. Whether it be the characters, the combat, the movement, it just looked a little clunky.
Yeah, they were showing all these different characters, but to me they all looked the same except for one that was obviously a bit larger in size and one that had longer hair. For the most part, there was no real individuality in character design that I took. And yeah, just watching gameplay, I'm like, this isn't really appealing to me, unfortunately. So kind of drifted off.
Hopefully there's a market for somebody out there to get into ATEBIT, and yeah, it's out right now if you want to get in on that early access. The next game that they highlighted, Tribes of Midgard, which obviously we've jokingly sort of said is the isometric Valheim as far as the camera angle goes. So they highlighted some post-launch details showcasing the Wolf Saga season and introduced also a new rune system. There'll also be special saga quests and season-exclusive items. So there's obviously going to be a season pass attached to that. Cash money, Ubisoft. But it's set to release on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 on July 27.
So we were half right, because I believe the saga quest element, was it the saga quest element? There's two different ways that you can play this game, and one of them is very Valheim. It's build a base, share the base with a group and create your own little clan, a little flock. And yeah, that definitely was very Valheim. But then there was another one that kind of felt a bit more, I guess, Diablo, kind of just running around and killing creatures and leveling up your character and building up your character's tree, or rune, I guess. Looked interesting,
and it's another one. I think to me, I'd have to play that with friends.
Oh yeah,
I don't think I'd want to play that by myself. I know that you can get the your fellow Viking brethren, they can be AI controlled, and so you can still roll around with some like computer based characters. But I'd want to play with friends.
Yeah,
so
I
we'll
agree.
see. But out this month, which is kind of cool. We also had Mantisco announce during the stream that Hunters Arena Legends, a game that combines RPG, MOBA, and many other genres. I don't know what that means. It's going to be coming to the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. It's also out in July, and it features both PvE and PvP, as well as 2 Battle Royale modes. From an artistic standpoint, it looked pretty. The character models were cool.
Demons looked amazing. They looked gorgeous. But yeah.
But did the game move the needle for you? Were you interested in playing Hunters Arena Legends, Miss Hart?
I thought it was like LOL, like League of Legends. At first I thought, I'm like, oh, someone's trying to, do League of Legends. Then I saw that, like, what the gameplay was. Then they added extra things, and then I was confused. And then I think I understood in the end what they were trying to be. So I gave them points for doing Battle Royale, but adding something different to it, relatively different to it. I'm not sure. There's a part of me that is just so intrigued by this whole concept of you being hunters and killing these demons, and the overall like design concept, and you can change how your character looks, and some of those looked great as well. I may look into this one because I'm intrigued enough, I think, with this one.
Aesthetically, it looked gorgeous, and the combat looked crazy. Some of the combos they were doing with these martial arts weapons was just, they were flying across the screen.
Hair physics wasn't bad either.
And then some of the ridiculous skins. I like it was like grounded in this like traditional martial arts. And then there was a dude like in his neon going to the beach outfit or a panda mask or something like that. Like it was a good contrast.
Yeah. So I may look in this one.
Yeah, we also got some Fist Forged in Shadow Torch highlighted, which is a 2D Metroidvania starring a rabbit on the run from various machines. It's going to be dropping on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and PC on September the 7th. Looked interesting.
Yeah, I got like Abe's Odyssey vibes.
Yes, that's what I had in my notes as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so, but like, I liked the character design, but there was a lot of moments in the trailer where it was just too frantic for me. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. So I'm like, I don't know if this one will be for me. It looks a bit chaotic.
For any people that are fans of furries, it is certainly a game for you because
Everyone
there was animals
horny
everywhere.
For a bloody character in that. It was like 5 seconds in that trailer and everyone got horny for it. Calm down, people. So
all the furry fans out there will probably be picking up a copy of Fist in September on the 7th. Sifu, we also got another trailer for Sifu. Sadly, the game has been delayed to early 2022, just citing COVID. But one thing I thought was cool with this trailer, it showed how you age as you get defeated.
Yeah.
So when actually you die or you go down in combat playing Sifu, you get older and then you move a little slower, you're not as strong, stuff like that. It's kind of cool. It's a bit of a fresh mechanic.
Yeah, I like it. I think the style looks really cool, and it seems like the overall like just brawling combat kind of kung fu vibe that's attached to it is really cool. And yeah, the aging thing was, it feels relatively new. I don't think I've really ever experienced that in a game too much. So yeah, I like this one.
Yeah, me too. The next one I was not involved or interested in at all. Jet, the Far Shore. They gave us a look at this. This is done by a small independent team called Super Brothers. It resembles No Man's Sky in some ways. You got sci-fi exploration both on foot and via spaceship. But No Man's Sky does this better, so I don't know where this game's going to be able to stand and succeed. But yeah, it's coming later this year on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Just not for me.
No, like I think I did out of the lines of like I can play this in No Man's Sky as the trailer was going on. I think they're going down for a more like story angle, story driven angle with this game. So maybe that's what they're hoping will latch onto some people. But for me personally, the elements of them talking about space exploration and studying space and finding new planets and such, I'm just like, no, I have that in No Man's Sky, and they've been really nailing that right now. So yeah, but we wish Jet the Far Shore all the success. Hopefully it does well when it drops later this year. The next game they highlighted, we got an extended look at Demon Slayer. It's dropping on October the 15th on PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series S/X.
It is a video game adaptation of the anime, and we're seeing episodes of this game play out directly from the anime itself. So some of the fights and some of the enemies you're fighting are ripped directly from the manga or the anime screen. And I'm excited. Like, does the game look super smooth and fantastic? No. But I love Demon Slayer, so I got my blinders on this one just because I love this franchise.
Almost looked like a PlayStation 3 game. I laughed because watching the trailer, I'm like, did someone just like go through the anime, grab a bunch of sound bites, and then as the trailer was playing, they just pressed random buttons because like all these like voice lines just not matching what was going on, and just if there was a way to stop me from watching an anime, that was it. But I will still watch it. Everyone really likes it, so I will give it time. I'm trying to catch up on My Hero at the moment, so.
Hey, yeah, I've been cracking back into My Hero. Last night I jumped back in because I fell away from it in season 3, so I've jumped back in and trying to catch up. So I've signed up onto Anime Lab again, and I was smashing through that last night as I was on the couch in my deathbed.
It's on Hulu over here, so I'm lucky.
Oh, nice. But yeah, we got extended look at Demon Slayer. The game, it don't look the best, but I'm still wanting to play it because I just really like that franchise. Am I silly for saying that? Yeah, maybe. We also got to see some of the new Sega game coming out called Lost Judgment. It's the sequel to its Yakuza spin-off featuring a private detective. It looks funky as hell.
I've never been debated so much in my life. When it started, I got so excited. I'm like, don't tell me the team from Yakuza is going to do like a heavy rain kind of like solve a crime kind of thing. And I was getting so excited. And then I saw the character. I'm like, wait, I don't think that's what this. And then he was dancing. Then he was like in a race. I'm like, yeah, this isn't the game I thought it was going to be. It looks cool, but I kind of like hyped myself up a bit too much. So.
Yeah, the tone shifted very quickly. It went from gritty Japanese crime show where you are using like working out clues and doing like detective vision and whatever to solve crimes, and then all of a sudden you're in a DDR battle with somebody, and you're just like, okay, and like you're sending a little robot in to kick the crap out of people. You got a doggo in there biting and carrying on, like, so it toes the line between straight and narrow and then utter insanity, just like Yakuza, especially they did with Like a Dragon most recently. But it looks gorgeous. Like the character models, there was parts where, I think so. There was a couple of characters that came onto the screen, and at the time when they popped on, I couldn't tell if it was like a real person or a cutscene for a split second. And yeah, I thought the character models, they looked really good.
Maybe in the cinematics, but for the most part, whenever it showed gameplay, there was just so many times where I'm like, I still feel like they're just reusing Yakuza assets. Like, nothing's really polished up much in-game. And I understand because Yakuza is a massive game, but like there was like just the initial like in-game kind of scene that they showed, and I'm just like, I've seen these assets in the office environment a bunch of times now, so... Like, I understand it's an affordable way, but I'm just like, I think it kind of cheapens it a little.
Work smarter, not harder, they say,
It's
over
true.
at Sega. They just go, hey, let's churn these assets out. But I'm interested to play as this Private Eye and see what kind of crazy hijinks you get up to, because clearly it is not just you're going to be playing SVU. That's for damn sure. It's like SVU meets Knockout or something, or... What's that other Wipeout? That's the other show I was thinking of.
No, I think you're
insanity.
right. It's a knockout. Like, it's a knockout.
That was the Aussie one, wasn't it?
Well, actually, I think they had it in America and England as well. But yes, we had it in Australia, and they did bring it back, and it was horrible. But
it's a knockout. That's the name of the game.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
All right, then we got some more goddamn Death Stranding. So they sort of focused on the director's cuts coming out. Obviously, September 24th is when it's dropping. Revealed a host of new content that's coming in the director's cut, which included new battles and advanced combat mechanics, as well as items such as a firing range, cargo catapult, new story missions, and a racing mode. Miss Hart, I could not give two rats' asses about this.
I like the robot legs.
Yeah, that was interesting, but I don't know what to say about this. Like, Death Stranding, I had a fine time playing this game, but I have no incentive to pay to upgrade my version to the director's cut and get this new action and go back as Norman Reedus and do more package delivery-esque things. Like, cool, man. Not for me. For you? You in?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
No.
Definitely not.
There's nothing that's attracting me to this game, not so well. Apart from robot legs. Definitely not racing.
That was so weird, but like very on brand too. Like it didn't, like, it surprised me for a second, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's Kojima.
I guess it didn't feel so weird after watching the Judgment Games trailer.
Yeah,
going
true.
from seriousness to crazy. So I'm like, it's the vibe.
Yeah, it is a vibe. And then the Sony State of Play, it ended with an extended look at Deathloop. So we got about 9.5-ish minutes of gameplay. And we also had one of the studio heads from Arcane sort of commentating over the top of it at times, just explaining what's happening and what you can do. I love the vibe of Deathloop, like this 1960s supernatural hitman vibe that they've got going on. It just oozes polish and coolness, and I can't wait for this game to come out on September the 14th. Did this extended look, I know even though we've probably seen all this in different trailers over the last 12 months, but did this get you excited? Are you keen for Deathloop come September?
It was interesting seeing the supernatural elements to it, but I felt like I was being told everything that I already knew about the game, and I don't want to get game fatigue. I like every time they release these kind of things, I start getting like, I don't know, like I lose my hype. Like this is kind of like what happened with I've forgotten the game, Gearbox,
Borderlands.
Thank you. Where it kept on getting like pushed and fed to me and everything. And I understand it's a publicity thing. It's keeping the game in the forefront in the minds of players so they don't forget about it before it's released, especially considering it's been pushed so many times. But I feel like if I just get hit with it so much, I just start to just get like, fine. Like it's kind of like when you watch those movie trailers and the movie trailer goes for a long time and then you kind of sit there and you go, you know what? I kind of got the experience already. Like I get it. I don't need to see the movie. And I feel like that's what happens with these games where I'm like, you already had me sold. Like just please stop force feeding it down my throat or else I will start getting sick of it before I even get to play it.
Yeah, and that's a shame when it gets like that too, because I'm like, you mentioned Borderlands. I felt the exact same way. Like Borderlands 3 when it dropped, I had zero anticipation to play this game. I didn't really enjoy my time with it, and maybe a lot of that was also on the back of just this marketing campaign that was just belting me over the head no matter where I turned for months leading up to the game. So that hasn't set in yet for me on Deathloop. I'm still keen as a bean and can't wait to play it.
I'm still keen, but I just don't want it to get like that. It's
just so slick. And Arcane, they've got such a cool, distinctive art style and tone to their games where it's just got this like swagger to them, their games. Yeah. And you can see that in Deathloop, and just the diverse way to go about killing these 8 targets on this island, the weapons that you've got, the abilities that you've got in conjunction with that. And then where they mentioned that the other rival assassin, which is one of the 8 targets you've got to take down, when they enter your game to try and hunt you down, which can be AI or it can be another real player.
Yep.
So you can get taken down, like I can come and hunt you or vice versa, where we're trying to finish this game. I think that's such a cool little dynamic, cool little mechanic that they've brought into this game that could really mix up the gameplay and lead to some really cool moments.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the element that I really like about this game is also not only like that if you get shot, like I believe they said that there was elements of like cause and effect. So if something in your loop, you did something in particular, even though you died, it can actually change the overall outcome. Like you won't get the same experience because of something done. Like, so I always like it when they add that kind of twist into a game. So
Yeah, looks super cool, and I can't wait to play this in September. But that brings us to the end of the news. Maybe let's jump over to this.
Tweet of the week.
And we got 2 tweets here. We're looking at one from Xbox and one from Sony. And the first one that we got from @Sony, it was a 30-second video highlighting the PlayStation, and the Twitter post read, "Shared adventures, forged bonds, life's best memories are ones created together." And then on the back of that, a ton of social media savants picked apart this trailer and realized that the Sony ad had the PlayStation 5 console upside down in the video. Sony have since swiftly removed this tweet and this marketing stuff. It is purged from the internet, but found that very hilarious. And then the next one, Xbox, I got to say, they've been on fire this week with their social media posts. We're not even highlighting the All For One boy band targeting Game Pass and some of the other stuff they do, but this is from @Xbox Game Pass, and the tweet reads, "Look at this photograph. It's one of your cloud gaming ads. Do you see what's in those hands? It's a controller from a different brand." So that's in the tune of Nickelback there. So yeah, he is playing Sea of Thieves using a PlayStation controller on xCloud, and it is just chef's kiss, marketing perfection, bringing in Sony, Xbox, and Nickelback into the one tweet. I'm all for it.
Yeah. Like you said, Xbox have got a team, like, they've been hitting, like, home runs. The boy band music video was completely unexpected, but it was done extremely well. And the fact that they, like... As I watched this, and I was loving it, I was loving watching the music video, I'm like, there is such a strong percentage of kids out there that have no freaking idea, like, who this band is, what the original song was, how clever this is, like, and then they were sending out, like, PR boxes out to big content creators, and they got, like, a physical disc copy of it as well, so, but it's nice seeing, like, big corporations or big companies being a little bit, like, aware and, like, tongue-in-cheek, and, you know, good to, like, kind of let their hair down a bit and not be so serious and delete something when people figure out that the marketing team didn't do so well in displaying a console. Yeah, but I think we've actually been pretty spoiled this week with Xbox leading the way on how social marketing can be done.
Absolutely killing the game there over at Xbox, and yeah, in comparison to that bungled Twitter post from Sony with the upside down PlayStation 5. Oh God, what a time to be alive, Miss Hart. And God, the internet are a mean bunch. Like, the second they noticed this, they were just at them. They were ripping Sony to shreds, and
I think it's because Sony would have spent so much money to get that trailer done. It was a professionally shot little, 30-second advertisement. A lot of money would have gone into it to produce it, and just that entire time, no one was around to say that's upside down. Like, there's actually someone's job, like, But either way,
very, very poorly assessed, that trailer. Who was signing off on that in the marketing department? And missing the product that you're featuring in this video and seeing that it's upside down is, oh boy. Hopefully no one got fired for that, but I assume someone got in some big trouble.
Yeah, just a little bit.
What a time to be alive, Miss Hart. We're getting Nickelback crossovers with Xbox. This is the best timeline.
It's the dark timeline.
New releases and events.
All right. As far as content dropping this week, obviously, if you listen to us right now on Monday, the 12th of July, this is the 249th episode of The Hungry Gamers. Outside of that, we don't have a ton of 8-bit related content dropping this week. We will have, and is this thing on, dropping over at ko-fi.com/we-are8bit for those Ko-fi subscribers or Ko-fi supporters. So that will be dropping this week as well. But outside of that, we're just looking at the broader lens as far as content you consume. So we've got the Loki finale. So the season 1 finale, the 6th episode of the Loki Disney Plus series. Have you watched the 5th episode from this past week?
Yep.
Did you like
probably the best episode in the whole series.
It was so good. And I'm so happy you said that too, because I watched that. I didn't watch it on Wednesday. I actually watched it yesterday in my hungover state again. But I adored this episode and just some of the things that they discussed and the Easter eggs. And it was just so well done.
Yeah.
And I'm all aboard on the Loki and Sylvie characters. I'm big fans of both of those characters.
I'm not.
You're not?
No. They have no, like, no. They're the two characters that I'm kind of like, whenever they're on the screen, I kind of like pull up my phone a bit. But that episode was full of fantastic actors, great characters, and like you said, a lot of Easter egg and Loki lore and stuff. Yeah, like there's a lot of little elements in there. I do recommend if you're a bit of if you are enjoying the series and you like a lot of like Easter egg stuff, there's a few YouTube channels out there that kind of go through a lot of the Easter eggs. I think IGN might do a something that they call, what is it, like something fodder, where they go through and point out Easter eggs and references and such. So it's a lot of fun.
It really was. It was a great episode, and it's been a slow burn this season, but I'm hoping that they can keep this momentum up with the final episode in this season, the 6th episode. Hopefully it lands on a big note. I have a feeling with like sort of what they're alluded to in that 5th episode, I'm excited to where this could go. So I'm just going to see if they go that way or if they're going to pivot and completely throw us for a loop. But I cannot wait to watch that on Wednesday. On Friday, Fear Street Part 3, 1666 drops. So part 2 dropped overnight. So it is out on Netflix right now if you want to check that out. And then, as far as games coming out this week, Curb Space, which is on the Nintendo Switch, July the 13th. Where the Heart Leads, PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 on the 13th. Lost at Sea, July the 15th on PlayStation, Xbox and PC. F1 2021, dropping on all the platforms bar the Nintendo Switch on the 16th of July. Observer Systems Redux, dropping on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on the 16th. Space Jam: A New Legacy. I think this might be a typo because I downloaded this the other day. So Space Jam: A New Legacy, even though it says it's the 16th, it is available right now. I downloaded it for free because there's no way in hell I'm paying for this game. It looks interesting, but I'm going to give it a spin between now and next episode just to see what it's like. And then Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD drops on the Switch on July the 16th as well. So a couple of good games in there. Couple of re-releases on new platforms to sink your teeth into.
Yeah, I'm just going to look into this Observer because it says Observer System Reader. So I'm like, is this more content or is it just for the consoles?
I think it's just for the consoles.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah, so you don't need to get too... Because I know you're a big fan of Observer.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Miss Hart, that brings us to the end of episode 249 of THG. Anything you want to say or highlight before we shut down this bad boy for not it's going to be another week. It's going to be a little longer because we're taking a little mini break in between bringing you episode 250. So listeners, you got ideas, you got feedback, anything you'd like to see for episode 250, hit us up on them socials at We're8bit, at Brendan8bit, or at Miss Ali Hart. Or drop us an email, hello@8bit.net, if you want to send us something in a little bit more long form above those 200-ish characters that you capped on them Twitters. So do that because we're still building out episode 250 and we would love to take any thoughts, advice, opinions, requests. We'll try and make it all happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's essentially it. Like, we obviously want to take in as many ideas as we can and how many we can actually achieve. Because I know there's a few ideas and concepts out there that people would like, and it's kind of a tiny bit hard to navigate, but we want to try our best to nail all the ones that are being put forward. So keep on recommending them. We'll put out a question also on Instagram and Twitter, so you can also reply there with some ideas. So
sounds good. But anything else you want to say, Miss Hart? Oh yeah, we're pretty good. We'll close this down.
Let's close this bad boy down.
Let's do it. All right, 8-Bit Nation. Thanks again for stopping on by, listening and showing us all the love. But until next time, much love.
And stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.
Do you also like from like a fish and chip shop, do you like the little deep fried mini dim sims?
No.
They're the ones that are super fried and then just covered in salt?
No, I don't really eat those.
They're so good.